Who can tell me what resilience means? What's resilience? Good word. Good word to say. Fun word. Go, Jay.
The ability to continue operations in spite of what's going on around you.
Excellent, excellent. Good. Flexibility. Good. I like it. Look at that. There's a great definition right there. Provide smooth, steady, reliable service, even in the face of adversity, right? Common threats, somebody seeing what they shouldn't, something being destroyed, something being stolen, or something being changed a way it shouldn't be. We call it mean time to failure. The amount of time something can run before something goes wrong. You want to minimize that, obviously. Are you ever going to get to 100% uptime? No. Can you get to 99%? You can. It's really expensive. And sometimes it's not worth it. Again, depending on your environment. Sometimes if you're at 90%, you're very comfortable at the 90% because getting to the 95% would be cost prohibitive. What kind of environments do need 99% uptime?
Medical systems.
Yeah, definitely. Health and human safety. If it's life support, it's got to be available at all times, right? Good. What's a trusted path? Very simply, it's one that you are convinced that you know the quantities of. You know what's going across that pipe. You know what it's being used for. You know what all the users can do. What's a fail-secure mechanism? We often talk about fail-safe. What's fail-secure? If there's a problem, it locks down, right? Can't use it if there's something wrong. Can you use that for your structure? Can you use that for your doors? No, why not? Because it's bad to lock people in a burning building. And bad to throw a penguin in a chipper. It is funny, but it's bad. It's bad. All right. Redundancy and fault tolerance gives us some of that resilience. Redundancy itself means there are multiple ways of doing something. We can use spares for that. What's failover? If it breaks here, there's another backup somewhere else that can actually take that tasking. Redundant servers. Sometimes you run them together. Sometimes one stays passive until it's time to operate. Oh, right here, active pairs. Active-active and active-passive pairs. Active-active is used for load balancing while they're all working. And it's used for redundancy. When one fails, the other one just picks up that load. Power supplies. Anyone work in an environment with ups? Ups. How long do they usually last?
Depends.
Not very.
Usually not very long. Usually you get down to, they last long enough before you can go into graceful shutdown, just so you don't lose everything. Yeah, good. Drives and data storage. Storage area network. Just a huge array of disks connected to multiple systems. Network attached storage can act like a file server. JBOD. Has anyone worked in an environment with that before? Yeah, spiffy. And there's a way to use multiple disks and store across all of them. Anyone work with a RAID array? Yeah. Very popular way of doing it. Which RAID configuration do you use?
I have a little server at home. I just do RAID 1,
okay.
2 disks. Yeah.
Okay.
But RAID 5 mostly for bigger stuff.
Okay. And RAID has a whole bunch of different flavors, right? And it gives you a whole bunch of opportunities. RAID works pretty well, which is why it's been adopted almost ubiquitously. It's what are the problems? What are the downsides to RAID?
It's expensive.
Can be expensive, yeah. And you have to know what you're doing. It's not just a matter of drag and dropping it into a file server, right? Good. All right. Backing up and recovering to your last known good. You want to have that window of time when it's not peak operations, much like doing your vulnerability scanning. Why? Same reason. You don't want to impact operations while you're doing the backup. The backup can be very process intensive. Different kinds of backups, full, differential, and incremental. Definitions are up here. Full is everything. Differential is things that have changed since your last full. Incremental, things that have changed since your last backup, even if that was a differential backup. Which one's the most complete? Full. Which one takes the least amount of time?
Incremental.
Incremental. Good. Which one takes more organization to restore from? Incremental, because you may have to do many more restores than just one. Full backup, you just plug it in, restore from there. Incremental, you have to find each one of those along the way. Offsite backups, good or bad? Offsite, good because it won't get destroyed when your building gets destroyed. Bad because you have to go there and get it. And because that's another place where your data is being stored that someone could access. Electronic vaulting, what's electronic vaulting versus offsite backup? Anyone heard that term before? The book uses it to mean moving your data over the network. This one, when it comes to offsite backup, they're talking about analog motion, putting the disks or tapes on a truck and driving it away. Electronic vaulting, they're sending it over a pipe. Do not task a single point of failure. What does that mean? Same thing we were talking about vacation earlier. You want to find out who is that guru in the office that knows everything about the system, that is the system themselves, and that you can't live without. Those people are wonderful. They're great. They're invaluable. Unfortunately, they often never have a time to stop and document what it is they're doing. So that is something you have to look for. Overlapping shifts. Why? Why overlapping shifts? That's expensive. You are adding at least 2 hours to the cost of your personnel. Why?
Handoff would be better.
Much better, right? Instead of somebody coming in, dropping off their lunch, doing all those things, right as they're passing each other on their way, to log in, log out, you have some time there so they can relate things like the general's buddy is flying his helicopter onto the base tonight, right? Good. Do you want to have people know how to do things other than their main job? Aren't we running into need-to-know problems? Aren't we running into separation of duty problems? Perhaps, but it also gives us that redundancy, right? It gives us that backup. We avoid having that single point of failure. And document, right? Anyone ever known somebody who's been with an organization for like 20 years and they've seen that thing from infancy and they've shepherded it all the way up and they know every single point of it? And if you ask them, they could say, oh yeah, that wire closet, there's always a problem with that one plug. Don't use that one plug. How do you know that? Oh, I just remember, right? That's tricky. That's dangerous. They're good to have,